council determinations to disapprove or modify landmarks. And the courts have looked at and basically applied an arbitrary and capricious standard to that. I personally think a different standard should be applied. I think a legislative standard is more appropriate, but the courts have applied an arbitrary and capricious standard when reviewing disapprovals of landmarks by city councils.
That would probably be the standard applied to planning board because that's not even a legislative body.
Yes. Well, I think it is in a way, but it's not a legislative body the way a city council is.
Wow.
It's some actions by planning and zoning boards are considered legislative in nature by the courts, and even when the city council has determined to disapprove the landmark designation, courts have still applied an arbitrary and capricious standard, and they haven't applied the legislative standards. Well, I think they should. It hasn't. That's not what they've done.
So the issue of the length of time came up at the public hearing, and we've heard that the length is actually not different. So the issue now becomes, what is the pleasure? Are there other questions, other comments that we need to ask from legal point of view, other further discussion?
I appreciate this is a meeting and not a public hearing, but I think several members are aware that there is at least one member of the public and 2 members of the City Council who were unable to attend last week and would, similar to what I believe has been the past practice, and I know is the practice at the City Council, if you would indulge public comment for a brief period at this meeting.
Thank you. So the question becomes whether or not we want to have a public hearing at this meeting.
I would like to hear what the council I'd like to hear what the councilman has to say.
So you propose that we would open this up for a public hearing?
With no time limits.
Not a public hearing, but allow public comment,
But
but limited to those people who weren't here last week. I mean, the councilman wasn't here. He said he would like to speak. You know, I don't think we have to hear from everyone again that spoke last week, but if there was somebody who wasn't here last week, then
So that's in general, just to council persons, just to elected officials, or in general?
I think that people weren't here last week. In the past, we had a 15-minute window at the beginning of our meetings where we allowed people to speak.
Just to be clear, in the past we didn't have that after the public hearing. Just to be clear.
That's true, but we really haven't had we haven't had this much participation in a number of years. So I really certainly don't want to include.
So the pleasure of the committee?
Yeah. I wasn't here last meeting, so I'd like to...
So he should take a whooping this week, too.
Absolutely.
Only fair.
Yeah,
Limited to 3 minutes?
I think 3 minutes.
yeah.
Same as last
for everybody speaking again. It's 20
taking
people. It's
anyone?
an hour,
No, I think
3-minute pieces. So
All right, I'll ask the public.
we heard everybody
If
last week.
those of you who were here last week that spoke, we would appreciate it if you would not speak again because we heard your views last week. If there are people who were not here, not there last week, who would like to speak, then we'll be willing to listen to you. But it is the practice of public hearings that you limit the speakers to 3 minutes. And I asked Councilman Murtaugh about that beforehand. He said if there are public hearings, it's usually a time limit. The council president doesn't seem to abide by that, but you know we'd like to do that. So
I'll read as quickly as I can.
right. But we
So we're going to ask your indulgence. We will open it up. We're asking you please hold it to 3 minutes. Don't put me in a position to be rude. As people said I was rude. If you hold it to 3 minutes, I will not rude. Finish in 3 minutes. I will give you a warning at 30 seconds, and I ask that you would sum up.
Why don't we just get
Right.
give a hand of who's going to speak?
Well, it's easy.
That's about 15 minutes.
Yes, I'd like to
Yeah, if you could just
sign the sheet.
sign. You can sign the sheet.
Try to speak at the same time, John.
Right.
We're not sure where you are.
Show us what a
Could you spell-
multitasker
could
you
you print your
really
name for
are.
us so we can know who you are?
Indeed. I always print. May I, or?
Yes, sir.
All right. And as these folks know, I usually shoot from the hip, and this time I actually wrote it out, so I hope I can get it in 3 minutes. Members of the Commission, I need not tell you where I stand on this very misguided proposal. My record in favor of historic preservation is a long one. Nevertheless, I do feel a record should be made. The current proposal is wrong on many levels. In the first place, it is, frankly, an insult and an affront to the good, dedicated, knowledgeable members of the Landmarks Board, every one of them volunteers. Secondly, it is nothing but a bald attempt to usurp the power of the City Council, to place the Landmarks Board in the role of exercising veto power over decisions of the Landmarks Board. Third, I believe this proposal is an ill-conceived, knee-jerk response to the Landmarks Board and Council's votes to create the Phillips Manor Historic District. That single vote, taken with unanimous support, is, to my knowledge, the first time that this or any Landmarks Board or City Council has exercised the landmarking power in a manner that directly impacted a significant development project. And what was the immediate reaction? In effect, if you can't beat them, kill them. In this case, effectively kill the Landmarks Board. And yes, I'm afraid it simply cannot be ignored. The chairman of this commission is also president of the property owner most impacted by the creation of that district. I say that not as an ad hominem attack, but merely as a statement of fact. I might add that since the landmarking, Grayston has appeared to work in good faith to achieve a workable compromise at that site. Nevertheless, even if unfairly, the taint of payback hangs in the air. These are specific criticisms, but the real issue is more fundamental and much broader. What direction will we take as a city as we redevelop? Unlike many of our neighbors, White Plains and Stamford come to mind, we still have many of our old, historic, and significant buildings and neighborhoods intact. When those cities remade their downtowns years and decades ago, they did so with a wrecking ball and a bulldozer, and no appreciation for the treasures they were leveling. For reasons political and otherwise, Yonkers missed those past building booms, but as a result, we now have the opportunity to do better, to appreciate our history, our heritage, and the fabric of our communities, and to weave something better from that fabric by combining the best of the old and the new. We have a simple philosophical choice. Do we celebrate our heritage and preserve our history, or do we bulldoze that history, blacktop that heritage, and create yet another cookie-cutter city? Do we recognize the extraordinary value of what we have and make it an integral part of a revitalized Yonkers, or do we simply create acres of glass, steel, and concrete indistinguishable from New Rock City, the city center in White Plains, or Summer Street in Stamford? Thank you.
Do you mind if we take a copy of that? We'll have a stenographer here.
I actually welcome it because I stopped about 2/3 of the way through.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the cooperation. I am going to make a brief statement. I held my tongue at the last meeting, at the public hearing, because that's not what it was, but this is actually a commission meeting. And so just wanted on the record, I am not president of the Grayston Foundation, which owns the property. I'm president of Grayston Bakery, and I'm resigning as of September 30th to go into full-time ministry. I have no personal interest in this, and you have not heard my views on whether I favor this or not. Just be on the record for that.
Good evening, everyone. Lee McLaughlin. I want to start first off by apologizing to the members of the commission. I made a comment in an online newspaper that I think was a bit over the top. And to each of you, I owe an apology because as a council person, I take issue with the public